Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a masterclass on business strategy from the one and only Michael Porter. And we're going to zero in on one of the most common and, frankly, most dangerous mistakes a company can make.
Right off the bat, Porter makes this really crucial point. Strategy isn't some high-level, abstract thing that just lives in the boardroom. Nope. It's totally connected to the day-to-day work, the projects that actually bring a company's vision to life. If you don't get the strategy, how can you possibly know if you're working on the right things?
Okay, so let's dive right into the first big idea. It's a goal that it sounds great on the surface, but Porter argues it's actually a massive trap for most businesses.
Think about it. If you ask any leader what their goal is, you're probably going to hear some version of the exact same answer. We want to be the best, right? The best car company, the best bank, the best whatever. It just feels like the obvious thing to aim for.
But here's the twist. According to Porter, this way of thinking is absolutely disastrous. Why? Well, because in the real world, there's no such thing as the best. There isn't one best car for everybody or one best hotel. It all comes down to who the customer is and what they actually need.
So when every company tries to be the best, what happens? They all start chasing the same features, the same customers, the same so-called best practices. And this just forces everyone into a zero-sum game. It's a brutal race to the bottom where you and your rivals basically become copies of each other, just fighting over who can offer the lowest price.
So, okay, if trying to be the best is a dead end, what's the alternative? What's the right way to think about this? And here it is. The real goal of strategy, Porter says, is not to be the best. It's to be unique. It's about carving out your own special place in the market that sets you completely apart from everyone else. You see how this simple little shift in thinking just changes the entire game? Instead of that bloody race to the bottom, you create what's called a positive-sum competition. It's a world where lots of companies can win because they're all busy serving different customers with different needs. You're not fighting over the same tiny slice of the pie. You're creating your own space to win. So how do you actually do that? How do you build a strategy that's all about being unique? Well, Porter breaks it down into two core parts that are totally linked together. First up, every great strategy has to start with a unique value proposition. This is basically the promise you make to your customers, and to get it right, it has to answer three very specific questions. You've got to be super clear on this. First, which customers specifically are you going to serve? Second, out of all the things they might need, which needs are you going to focus on meeting? And third, what's your price going to be compared to your rivals? And here's the absolute key, your answers to these questions have to be different. But look, a value proposition is really just an idea, right? A promise. You have to actually deliver on it. And you do that with the second piece of the puzzle, a tailored value chain. This is the specific set of activities, everything from product design to your sales process, that you put in place to deliver on that unique promise. Okay, this might still sound a little abstract. So to see how all these pieces fit together, let's look at a fantastic real-world example. Porter's favorite case study for this is IKEA. The furniture giant didn't build an empire by trying to be the best furniture store for everyone. They did it by being completely, unapologetically unique. Just look at their value proposition. They didn't try to serve every furniture buyer out there. No way. They specifically went after young people, probably living in smaller apartments or their first homes, who wanted stylish, modern design but had very little money to spend. They picked a customer that almost no one else was really paying attention to. And to deliver on that low-price promise, they built a genius value chain. Everything is designed from the ground up to be flat-packed, which just demolishes their shipping and storage costs. Then, they have you, the customer, do the rest of the work. You find it in the warehouse, you take it home, and you assemble it yourself. Every single one of those choices is deliberately engineered to get that final price tag as low as humanly possible. And that brings us to the last, and maybe the toughest part of building a great strategy. It's about having the courage, the discipline, to make some really hard choices. Now that sounds totally crazy, right? But here's the crucial point. A great strategy is defined just as much by what you decide not to do as it is by what you actually do. Think about IKEA again. They deliberately choose not to have lots of salespeople helping you. They don't offer home delivery, you can't get custom options. They know this is going to make some customers pretty unhappy. But by making those trade-offs, by saying no to those things, they can double down on what their target customers really care about. Stylish design, a huge selection you can take home today, and of course, those incredibly low prices. Porter tells this great story about how his own daughter loved IKEA because it was perfect for her. But he, on the other hand, hated it because it met none of his needs. And that, he says, is the sign of a truly brilliant strategy. It proves there's no such thing as best. There's only best for you. And that's really the final thought to take away from all this. Take a hard look at your own company, your team, maybe even your own career. Ask yourself, are you stuck running in that crowded, exhausting race to be the best? Or are you creating your own race by competing to be unique?